What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Rudy's Rant, Her Game, Her Way Women's Basketball, where we talk facts of our feelings. We are powered by Come On Now, the podcast. Once again, I'm your host, Rudy Rodriguez Show. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell. Leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts. Appreciate everyone who jumped on board last night. Late night live, post game, Indiana versus LA. Not a great performance by the Indiana Fever. In fact, probably one of their worst performances of the season. And we're going to talk about this game in a little bit more detail, plus the post-game press conference that featured. I'm breaking them all here because this post-game press conference here was only 6 minutes and 26 seconds with Stephanie White, Natasha Howard, and Kelsey Mitchell. Haven't watched but about 20 seconds of it, and I was like, oh, it's only 6 minutes long. Let me get everybody here. So we're going to break this all down, talk more about this game. This game at one point yesterday was 90-68. 90-68. It was a debacle. Like you can't say anything else about it. It was an absolute ass whipping. The final score, not indicative of the game. The Los Angeles Sparks seem to be the kryptonite for the Indiana Fever. They are too athletic for the Fever across the board. This is a team that the Fever just simply cannot guard. You have players like Rakea Jackson, who is a matchup nightmare for the Fever. She's too fast for she's too fast for Natasha Howard. She's too big and strong for Lexi Hull and or Sophie Cunningham. She's too skilled for any of them to guard her. Then you got Kelsey Plum, too good, too quick, too athletic. You've got Azare Stevens, too athletic, too good of a perimeter shooter. Pulls the big out. Aaliyah Boston can't guard her out there. Natasha Howard's too small to contest with her because Azare Stevens is 6'6" and Natasha Howard 6'2". And then you got Cam Brink, who is a problem. She's back only a few games in, I think a couple games in. She's coming off of her knee injury, and she was a big problem. Too long, lanky. What's another word for I could use for her, honestly, technically sound. She knows how to use her body. She knows how to use her arms without fouling. I mean, 5 block shots in 16 minutes on minutes restrictions and found a way to make a massive impact despite not scoring one single point. 0 of 6. I mean, she couldn't make a layup. I mean, she missed a bunch of them back to back to back. But her defense was huge. Dearica Hamby was a problem, too athletic for Aaliyah Boston to contain. I mean, it's a matchup issue when these two teams play each other, especially if Caitlin Clark can't play, because this team doesn't have I mean, look, Kelsey Mitchell's a good athlete, but she's 5'8". Erin McDonald's a good athlete, but she's 5'6". When you're talking about 6'2", the biggest problem on that court is Rakea Jackson. They have zero answer for Rakea Jackson. Honestly, they should be playing a zone. against the LA Sparks, they should be playing a zone. But of course, they didn't do that. So they got smoked. This is the third time they've lost to the Sparks in 3 games. They got one more game on August 29th. It was not a good performance. And the defense was utterly horrendous. And we're going to review this press conference. And it goes kind of in hand in hand with the 5-game winning streak that ended yesterday, and goes hand in hand with the fact that in that 5-game winning streak, and even over their past 10 games, where people are trying to create a narrative that this team is a great defense or a much better defensive team without Caitlin Clark in the lineup, which is just data factually incorrect. Their plus minus with Caitlin is superior to their plus minus without her. So when she plays, their margin of victory is bigger than when she doesn't play. And if you even go look at their games over the past, let's just say 10 games, because I think that's pretty much what she hasn't played. Let's see here. We can just verify this. She hasn't played since when was her last game? When was her last game? Her last game was against Connecticut. That was the last game that Caitlin Clark played. That was when she got hurt. That was on July 15th. Since that game, the Indiana Fever is 6-3. Now, they have some good defensive performances and they have some really bad defensive performances. If you look at the games in that stretch, they're 5-3. My mistake. They're 5-3, not 6-3. They lost back to back to the New York Liberty. They lost to the Sparks. They have wins over Phoenix, Seattle, Dallas, Chicago, and Vegas. And when you look at, we'll break this down as the video goes on. So let's bring this press conference video in, and we can see what they're talking about here.
Yeah, it seemed like the second quarter was the difference, really. What went wrong in that second quarter?
Um, our defense. Our defense. That's the main thing we harp on is our defense. Because our defense get everything else going for us. And tonight we was a step behind on defense, and the Sparks took advantage of our defense, and they got whatever they want on the defensive end. So
I'm gonna stop it right there. So Natasha Howard says their defense is the problem. Partially, yes. Partially the problem. Another part of the problem was rotations, player substitution patterns. In the second quarter that she specifically mentioned, a substitution pattern or substitution group that occurred in that second quarter was that of Timpson, Dantas, Cunningham, Hull, and Colson. That group got outscored 7-0, or at least 7-0 in the second quarter. It turned a 30-26 lead into a 33-30 deficit. And realistically, the Sparks never looked back after that point. They never looked back. That was what changed the game because the Fever led by a point at the end of the first. They went up 30-26. And then that group couldn't score, couldn't defend, couldn't do anything. Couldn't do anything. Couldn't do anything. That little stretch right there changed everything for the Sparks. Sounds so simple, sounds so small, but from that point forward, the Sparks got whatever they wanted, and it didn't matter who was on the floor. But that little stretch right there seemed to spur everything that occurred in this game. So yeah, defense, but I think that rotation decision, that substitution decision, that I don't know that you'd ever play those five players together ever in a game during a season. The reason being, Colson's not a good point guard. Sophie and Lexi are not real ball handlers. None of these people on that floor could create their own shot. So how exactly you're going to get somebody? How exactly are you going to score? How are you going to score? Dantas is not a good defensive player, and you are undersized all over the court. You're undersized all over the court. Let me see if I can figure out who was on the floor for the Sparks. You got Ray Burrell was on the floor. Cam Brink was on the floor. Azare Stevens was on the floor. So you got 6'6", 6'4", and Cam Brink plays way bigger than 6'4". De'Erica Hamby, 6'3", and Kelsey Plum. So Plum, Hamby, Brink, Stevens, Ray Burrell. Ray Burrell's 6'2". Like they were so much bigger than the group the Fever had out there. So much bigger from 2 to 5, 6'2", 6'3", 6'4", 6'6". And the biggest player the Fever had on the floor at that little stretch was 6'3" and can't get 3 inches off the ground in Dantas. That's a that's a major coaching mistake. Let's see if we ever see that group together on the floor again. Probably, I would venture to guess no.
Yeah, can you turn up just a little bit? I don't think we need the mic, you're good.
Right.
Hey, Coach. Obviously, this was a disappointing loss, and you only got 2 points from your bench, but you guys still found ways to remain in the game. Just talk about what that says about the team and just kind of like the resiliency of play.
Yeah, I'm proud of our group. We are a resilient group. We have been all season long, and we found ways to put ourselves in position for success no matter what. And we didn't have it in all areas tonight, but we gave ourselves a chance down the stretch, and I think it says a lot about this group and just how convicted they are, how much they pull for each other. We had some missed opportunities, but to be in the position to cut it to 4 with a little over a minute left, I feel like that says a lot about the fight that they have.
They didn't cut it to 4. They cut it to 6. They had it at 7. Lexi Hull refused to shoot a wide open 3. I don't want to hear about the fight in this group. Don't tell me about that. They were down 22 points in the fourth quarter. 22 points. This wasn't about they were never in a position to win this game in the second half. They trailed by 11 at the half. They got it down at one point to 7 to 6, 65-59, and they trailed 76-64 going into the fourth. You make it go look at the fourth. This thing went from 76-64 to 90-68. They were never in this game. The second half was an annihilation. Was an annihilation. When were they in the game? Don't give me that they went on a run when the Sparks took the foot off the gas. Don't tell me that. I don't want to hear it. Yeah, okay. Salute. Clap, clap, clap. They made it a 6-point game. Woot-de 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 woot. Sparks got sloppy. You got it down to 95-89. And he immediately gave up a 3 right back. You had a chance at 95-89. Kelsey Mitchell misses a wide open 3 after she was cooking. And Azrae Stevens drills a 3 right in their mouth to make it a 9-point game again. And that's the ball game. Lexi Hull had a chance to cut it to 4 with under 38 seconds left. Doesn't take the shot. They were never in a position to win this game. You can be get all excited about fighting back when you're getting skull drugged. Like, I don't want to hear it. We see leads disappear in professional basketball now all the time, largely because the team leading gets lazy and they get sloppy and they start doing things against what they were doing. Like, we can look at what the Sparks did from the time it was 90-68. It was also 93-71, so we could go start there. You got a 5-second violation on the Sparks. Like, how many times would that happen? You got a turnover. You got an offensive foul, another turnover. Like, I'm reading exactly what happened. You got a 3-point shot from De'Erica Hamby. That's a bad shot. Then you got a missed layup, another bad 3-point shot. And honestly, Kelsey Mitchell just caught, kind of a heater right there. And this also goes with the fact that they hit a 3, a 3, a 3, a 3. So they hit a bunch of threes combined with some bad possessions by the Sparks, who got sloppy, and they got back in the game. No, they didn't. The game. Like, did you really believe that they were going to come back and win that game? When they got it to 6, did you really believe that they were going to come back? No. Because all it would take is one basket. You dig a hole that big, like, oh, you fought back. Oh, the roster that the Sparks had out there at that point was Julie Van Loo, who's the one that turned it over back-to-back possessions. And then you got Rikea. She came in. So you had Julie Van Loo, Ray Burrell, So you had two backups on the floor. You had Sarah Ashley Barker. So they had their bench on the floor. So this run was against largely the LA Sparks bench. It wasn't against their starters. It was against their bench. Be honest about what was going on. Three of their five players, at the very least, three of the five players on the floor at that time during that spurt were backups. Let's see. Let's continue.
You can just yell. It's okay.
Okay. And then this was for the players. Obviously, this is the third time that thing has been thrown on the court. And I was just curious, are you guys able to quantify like the level of frustration that fans seemingly have for the disrespect that fans have for you guys? Because clearly you don't see this in WF or NBA games, but you see this 3 times already within the last couple of weeks.
Uh, we don't know who those people are. We're a product. We like to think that we come to play the game and people want to see us play. I think it's just that simple, man. We can't control everybody's actions. To the person or people who think, it's cool, hats off to you. And, to the higher power, I hope they keep praying for you. But for us, we want to keep the main thing. And I think that's about the basketball for both teams. So to those fans who do disrespect us, I like to think that you guys, or I hope to apologize, sooner rather than later. But I think we got to keep the main thing right now.
Let's talk about the green, the dildos continuing to be thrown onto the basketball court. This one happened to hit Sophie Cunningham in the leg, and I think it's a bit out of hand at this point. It was funny the first time. The first time it was like, oh my god, this is crazy, this is funny. Second time, but now it's just becoming ridiculous. Number one, it's a hazard. Number two, but here's the problem with the question is the problem with the question is that the players in the WNBA made a joke about it on social media. They've tried to make it funny, and rather than being disgusted by it, this is the first time I've heard anyone kind of slightly disgusted by it. Angel Reese is cracking on Sydney Colson. They're like everyone. Colson's throwing these things like they try to make a joke out of it. I don't even know how you ask this question or answer this question at this point, short of saying it's disgusting, it's distasteful, and whoever's doing it should be arrested and prosecuted. It's dangerous. You don't know where that could hit somebody, and there's a reason that you can't throw stuff on the floor. There's no difference in throwing. It's no different throwing that on the court than throwing a soda on the court. Like it's dangerous. You're on the basketball court. If that thing hits somebody in the face, you don't know what it could do. You don't know what it could do, and it is not appropriate. Again, first time, second time, oh, funny. At this point, it's becoming ridiculous. It's becoming ridiculous, and I think it's a massive issue of security. I just went to my wife's college grad school graduation today, as y'all know. I could not bring in a balloon. A balloon. I had to tie the balloon to a post outside the building, and after the building, go get the balloon and give it to my wife along with the flowers we had for her, what have you. They searched your bags. You couldn't bring in a Stanley cup like with water. They were not like, but yet you can manage to. They checked the bags. The one person said you can't remember my baby bag with my diapers and my wipes for my son. Oh, no problem. But it's like you sit here and you see how difficult it is. I go to sporting events all the time. I know when I went to a fight in Houston for a UFC fight, you couldn't bring a bag in probably larger than this, putting it together. Like this is about 7 inches. And literally it was like you couldn't bring in something that was bigger than a wallet. And that's the direction that they're gonna have to go. Because the only way you can get into a building with a dildo this big in length and that big, I mean, the only way you can do that is in a bag that they're not checking or in a cavity. That means inside your body. If you're a man or woman, in fact. I mean, people do things. And you're going to have to start searching people much more thoroughly because it's not appropriate and it's dangerous. And it just shows that there's a massive lack of security entering WNBA basketball games because this is not just in one building now. This is Atlanta. This is Brooklyn. Because it happened in Brooklyn yesterday too. This is LA. And there was one more. Was it Seattle? Did it happen in Seattle? No, because it was involving Golden State twice. Was it Chicago? I mean, it's happened in multiple WNBA buildings. There's a security issue.
Yeah, kind of mentioned Steph, only 2 points off the bench tonight. Just what went wrong in not being able to get them kind of involved as they usually are?
Yeah, I think, first and foremost, LA is a really good team. Their length causes problems for us. They did a really good job of trying to take away our main actions. I felt like we got good shots, and sometimes they don't fall. I think we were on 111, 1 for 11, off the bench. And oftentimes, when we can get people going, it's in transition, and we couldn't do that because we couldn't get stops. You can't get out of transition when you're consistently taking the ball to the net. And for us, we felt like we had enough offensively, but we didn't get it done on the defensive end of the floor. So I'm not worried about, our bench. I felt like we still missed open opportunities. We didn't take shots when they presented themselves, but they're going to make shots, and there's no doubt about that. But we got to get better on the defensive end of the floor.
You got to play your defense. You got to play your bench more than, I don't know, 4 minutes, Michaela Timpson, 3 minutes, Chloe Bibby, 6 minutes, Damaris Dantas. You overplay Sydney Colson to 13 minutes when she stinks, minus 17 in 13 minutes. Like, to imagine being minus 17 in 13 minutes of play. Minus 17 in 13 minutes of play. Lexi Hull plays 21 minutes, afraid to shoot, utterly useless as a player at this point, offensively. It's like playing when she's on the court, it's like playing 5-on-4. When Lexi Hull's on the floor, it's like playing 5-on-4 on offense. She's invisible. She won't shoot. She's afraid to shoot. People say her confidence has been killed by Stephanie White. No, she doesn't have confidence. She only has confidence when there's one player out there with her. Her confidence is built up by one player who gets her the most wide open shots probably in the history of basketball. And she's not getting those wide open looks. She's getting open looks that she refuses to take a lot. But her presence on the basketball court, and people will say, "Oh, she's such a good defensive player." No, she's really not. She played 21 minutes. She's not that good of a defensive player. She's a decent defensive player. She and Sophie got absolutely freaking smoked by Rakea Jackson. Smoked. Like, they can't go. Neither of them could guard her. Can guard Rakea Jackson. Talking about the defense. Defense at this point, I don't want to hear about how good their defense is. Their defense is not good. There's no adjustments. They give up they 56% shooting. Last game versus Seattle, 44% shooting. The game before that, 41%. That was decent. Then you got the Phoenix Mercury game, 49%. You go to the Sky game, they were 43% defensively. And then you go to the Aces game. That was a decent game. They were 40.3%. Neither team shot the ball well in that game. And then you go to those two Liberty games. They gave up 52% in one game. And then the game before that, 58%. This team is hit and miss defensively. You got to stop acting like this team is such a great defensive team. They're hit and miss. It's every other game. 48% to Dallas when they won that game. Like, they're outscoring some people for sure. But teams shoot a pretty good percentage against them. They do. They shoot a pretty good percentage against them. I mean, but yeah, I guess people are going to believe what they're going to believe because they're being fed this load of garbage. There's no adjusting. They stay in a man and get smoked. They don't go to zone. And this is what you get. They scored 91 points, man. You should win a game scoring 91 points in the WNBA. You should win a game scoring 91 points more often than not in the WNBA. This team has lost. I can't speak for the rest of the league, man. I can't speak because I'm not doing a deep dive right now. But I can sit here and I can tell you this: they've lost a game. They lost. Let me see how many games. How many games did they lost and they scored 91 points? I'm just going through it. That is the first game that they've lost this year, scoring 91 points. First one. No, I'm sorry. That's incorrect. I'm looking at the wrong thing. Their losses. They lost 191. Um, they've lost games scoring 88. They've lost games scoring 90. They've lost games scoring 83. Yeah, this is their worst. This is the worst one so far this year. This is the worst one. They scored 91 points and lost. But they have given up 90 plus points multiple times this season. 91, 90, 98, 98, 100. They got 5 games where they got given up more than 90 points. Like that's not good. And there's plenty of games in which they've given up over 85. But hey, whatever.
Um,
Oh, and one more thing. A lot of the reason that they were giving up less than 90 in a lot of these games is because they slowed the pace down to a crawl. Because without Caitlin Clark, they're playing a different tempo of basketball. When you slow a pace down to a crawl, you're gonna have lower scoring games.
I have two questions, one for you and one for them. I'll start for you. What is it like to have these two kind of step up time after time? It's like no matter what happens, these two veterans are leaders. They're all, and I think had what Kelsey 34 tonight. Thank you. Yeah, that's just for you. How especially filling in for the injuries that you have.
It's been a blessing. I mean, certainly, I think when you put their careers, in perspective and what they've been able to do, it's been incredible. And Kelsey has really put us on her back at times, and from a scoring standpoint, she gets into a rhythm, and we do a good job of finding her. And she does such a good job of getting to her spots and getting what she wants. And I thought her facilitating tonight was outstanding as well. And Tosh just does whatever we need. Every single day. It's like sometimes it's production. Like she's one of the best off ball cutters in the league. Sometimes it's rebounding, sometimes it's defense, sometimes it's just leadership, right? Communication. And you can't quantify that and how important that is. She's won multiple championships. She's won a defensive player of the year. And so to have somebody like that on your team who plays whatever role she needs for us to be successful night in and night out, it's been different every game. And to have her continue to step up and lead by example in that way, I think really, number one, says a lot about Tosh, but also says a lot about what she means to this team because you can't duplicate that.
And then for the players, you've got obviously change your game plan since Clark is out, and then she may come back, she may not. Has that made you a better team, having to kind of switch what you're doing a little bit?
I like to think that it's made us who we are. We can't control, what we can't control, but I think under our circumstances, we've had, really great players step up really good times. So Lex, our entire bench, all the way to the core group that starts, including Eric, AP. So we like to think that it's the next man up. I like to think that that's our personality, whether certain people play or not. And for us, we want to make sure that we are the resilient team. We want people to see that. We want people to see that no matter what, we're going to give what we got for 40 minutes. And we're going to stick together doing it. No one can come through and break apart what we have.
All right, so that is the post game press conference from this game. That one was rather fluffy. It wasn't anything crazy. You didn't hear anything totally outlandish in this particular press conference. I think what you did hear was some. I don't know. You didn't hear. I think there's a lack of honesty when it comes to this team defensively. I do believe that Stephanie White is playing a narrative that people are pulling because they want to pull it. This team defensively, I don't find to be all that great. I've watched every game they've played this year. I don't typically find their defense to be that great. I've always felt like this is a make miss league. Basketball is a make miss sport. Defense doesn't typically have a massive impact on shot making in professional basketball. It shouldn't. Or at least it shouldn't. Maybe it has more of an impact in women's basketball than men's basketball, but realistically, it's a make miss situation. You make, you miss. A lot of times, defense doesn't matter. And what you get from the Fever is they don't adjust. And this team, particularly the LA Sparks, is a matchup nightmare. And it's a little bit disheartening when you watch them and you've gotten beaten by them twice and you come into this game and Kelsey Plum individually has kicked your ass multiple times and you have nothing different to offer. You have nothing different to offer. You have your most athletic, longest player, the player that probably can give every person on that team problems defensively. Michaela Timpson, and she plays, what, 4 minutes? You have Rakia Jackson smoking, just smoking the players guarding her. And you have someone that's similar in height, 6'2", longer. I would venture to guess Michaela Timpson is stronger than Rakia Jackson. She looks stronger. She looks bigger. And you're not putting her in there to lock her down. That's a strategic error. That's a coaching error. You got Chloe Bibby, who you brought in to be a shooter, and you don't play her. After the first 2 games, she's basically not played. She's gotten sporadic minutes. Nothing. I think she's played more than 6 minutes since they brought her in after those first 2 games. You have a player who's not afraid to shoot the ball when she catches it, and yet you're not going to play her. You're going to waste those minutes on Dantas, who can't guard anybody. Dantas is going to get smoked by these players. Look, at the very least, if Bibby gets smoked, at least she can hit some jumpers. At least she's a threat the other direction. This bench was horrendous in this game, horrendous. But you also you played 3 of them less than like 6 minutes or less, 6, 4, and 3 or something like that. It's just gotten to the point where if you're an Indiana Fever fan and you're watching this, there's no way you trust your coaching staff. Because let's be real. They beat the Dallas Wings. They beat the Chicago Sky. That's 2 of their 5 wins in that streak. Now, the Las Vegas Aces is an interesting one because the Aces are not good this year. Like, they're not good. They're not good. Let me repeat, they are not a good team this year. But they have been a thorn in the Indiana Fever side. However, the last time that the Aces played the Fever prior to this past game, Indiana smoked them. And now they beat them again, 80-70. So how great of a win was beating the Las Vegas Aces? So you arguably had 3 wins over 3 of the lesser teams in the league. And yeah, I think the wins over Phoenix, which was at home no less. Like, let's find out what happens tomorrow against Phoenix on the road. Let's find out what happens against Phoenix on the road. See how they look on the road. Because there's a difference between playing on the road and playing at home. So, yeah, this wasn't a major interview like where you've caught a lot of nonsense, but there's still a lack of. I want to see questions get asked, and I just don't see the questions coming. I see softballs. I see softball questions. Why aren't you asking this coach about why she's not playing the most athletic player on her team when they're playing the most athletic team in the league? Like, the Sparks got more athletes than anybody in the league. Their length You just acknowledged the length that they've got, and yet you played a small lineup against length. Like, think about this, people. I know we're way deep into this video, and I hope you're still here. But think about this. You played your smallest lineup against their biggest lineup. I don't know that they could be bigger than the lineup that they had on the floor during that 7-0 run that basically changed the game. Stevens, Brink, Hamby, Rikea, or Ray Burrell, doesn't matter which one, I don't remember which one it was, and Plum, 6'2", 6'3", 6'4", and 6'6". And you run out there with with 5'8", 5'8", 5'11", 6'1", 6'2", and 6'3". The smallest lineup you can play. I guess you can play one that's small. You play Ari McDonald over freaking Dantas. Y'all make sense of it, but anyhow, y'all let me know what y'all thoughts are of this press conference. Let me know what you think. Like the video. Subscribe to the channel. Oh, yeah. There wasn't a question about return of Caitlin Clark. When are we? They didn't ask that. I mean, it's 8. It was August 5th. I know. Why aren't you asking that question? Do we have an update? Do we have any idea? Is there any idea right now? It seems like I think the media has basically been told, look, don't ask that question. We're not going to answer it. It's a possibility. It's a great possibility because to go through a press conference there and not have the question asked, is there any level of an update? Do we have any idea? Heck, I'm still asking the question, why the hell is she still traveling with this team? She's a superstar. She's signing everyone's autographs. Why is she traveling with the team? Ugh, I sound like a whiner. Y'all like the video, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell, leave a comment. This is Rudy's Rant, her game, her way, women's basketball. Come on now.